This episode of The Corner Office is brought to you by Vistage Worldwide. In business for over 60 years, we exist solely to help high-integrity leaders make great decisions that benefit their families, their businesses, and their communities.
Hello, San Gabriel Valley. My name's Don Burdge, and I'm the host of From the Corner Office. It's a show that we have for you to highlight successful CEOs and entrepreneurs in the San Gabriel Valley and in surrounding areas. I'm here today with my guest, Ara Aslanian from Inverselogic and from Revert Software, a startup company.
Yes.
Hi, Ara.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing well.
Good. Thanks for
Good to
coming on
see
the
you.
show. Ara, to start off, can you tell us a little bit about your company and what you do?
Sure. Inverselogic we just celebrated our 20th year last year. So I started with my partner, Jeff Alerta, 21 years ago now.
Great.
Jeff and I met while Jeff was consulting for a small ISP at the time, internet service provider. Jeff and I met and we decided to partner up and start Inverselogic.
Great.
Inverselogic is a managed service provider. We're a technology integrator.
Okay, what does that mean?
So managed service provider, think of us as your company's help desk, technology help desk.
Technology
We're your
help desk.
IT department.
Okay.
For a lot of our clients, we are their IT department, day-to-day IT support, setting up their network, setting up their servers, setting up their security and infrastructure. For many clients, they're supplemental IT. If they have an in-house IT department that doesn't have the time to tackle some of the larger projects or doesn't have the in-house expertise to handle certain projects, we'll get involved and help them with migrating their email to the cloud, migrating their servers to the Amazon. We're an Amazon partner. So we help them with numerous things.
So you work with large clients and small clients having no IT department and large clients having, or medium-sized clients.
Yeah.
Tell me a little about that niche.
So for the most part, our clients are small to medium-sized businesses that either don't have IT or don't have enough resources to have a full-time IT department on site. We help them we consult them with their IT needs, set up their servers, set up their infrastructure, set up their security, and then manage that day to day. The company also has another division that does web development, application development, e-commerce solutions, and helping clients solve business problems with technology when it comes to software and developing tools for them.
So tell me about, you have teams in your company that are specializing in different areas, or tell me about how your company is structured.
Correct. So the company has two different divisions. Our technology division, which is our infrastructure guys, our day-to-day help desk support guys, and our specialty guys, Cisco, Amazon, cloud. And then we also have a division that is our software development division, which helps clients with developing their e-commerce sites, helps them develop business applications that they can use to streamline their day-to-day business needs.
Great. And did that second business come as a need, or you started off as one company and then merged into? Tell me about that.
So we started off as initially we started off as a technology help desk managed service provider. And then the need grew for a lot of our clients would come to us and say, hey, can you also do a website for us at the time? 20 years ago, it was just simple websites. Or can you develop an application for us that would do this? And so we started that division as well. And my partner, Jeff, comes from the background of both programming and also technology. So it was very easy for us to make that not transition, but add that secondary division to the company at the time.
Great. Thanks, Ara. And Ara, can you tell me a little bit about the new company, the startup company that you were?
So through 20 years of working at Inverselogic and working with clients through Inverselogic, in the last 6-7 years, as we all know, cybersecurity has become a major issue.
Big time.
Specifically ransomware, where companies get attacked by either a phishing email or somebody clicking on the wrong link on a website. Ransomware will encrypt all of your data and the next morning you have no more access to data. And
scary.
yes, they will ask for Bitcoin to pay the ransom to unlock your data.
Yeah.
We noticed that a lot of clients that were getting hit by a ransomware didn't have sufficient data protection. And we asked, when we would ask why they don't have it, always the answer was, well, it's too expensive to get all the tools that you need to protect the company. So from that, having in-house people that can program, we decided to develop the software. We named it Revert. And basically Revert is a data storage, we call it a hybrid because it protects your data both on-site and backs up everything to the cloud. So it's a data protection hybrid solution that helps our clients protect their data. In case of a ransomware, they can revert back to.
Oh, so you can't prevent ransom, a guy from Russia coming over and doing something bad. You can't prevent that, but you can. If that happens, you got a great solution for it.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yeah, and not just ransomware, but any kind of data loss.
Oh, right. Crash of computers, that
crash
kind of
computers, fire burns down the server room. Unfortunately, God forbid. But we can. We make sure that it's like business continuity software.
Yeah,
so,
it's like insurance.
Yes.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
And you brought that along to your clients. How long ago did you bring this?
We started that about 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
We started developing it 3 years ago. About 2 years ago, it became a viable software that we could start testing and selling it to our clients.
I bet you're finding a real need for that right now, aren't you?
Yes.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Is that a growing part of your business?
It is a growing part of our business. It's a separate company. It's a separate entity than Inverselogic, but it is a growing niche for us, and
Great.
it's and cybersecurity as well. It's become in the last couple of years, it's become very paramount and very specific to our practice.
Really popular, I'll bet. Yep. Ara, can you tell me a little bit about the challenges you've had with growing your business from the beginning and hiring people, training, the customer frustrations, anything that and how you've overcome those?
So, as everybody knows, technology business changes by the second.
Yes.
We like to say that it's always evolving, and it is. And the challenge for us is to find employees that can adapt to that change. And we call it grit in a technology hiring environment, where somebody has that grit that can adapt, overcome challenges, and be able to learn on a fast pace all the new technologies and all the new solutions that are being thrown our way.
Right.
And be able to learn about them so that then we can go and help our clients overcome the challenges that they face.
So how do you determine whether someone has this technology grit, when you're interviewing someone or you're first looking at a potential employee?
I think a lot of it comes with just being a good judge of character. A lot of times education, we used to focus on education, right? You have this certain college degree or a certain certificate. We used to.
Okay.
But not so much anymore, because now it's about what have you done? What experiences do you have? Because a lot of times you will get somebody that has all the Microsoft certifications, but they've never touched a real life scenario before. They've just been educated in a classroom somewhere, but they haven't had that hands-on experience. So you want to have somebody that has overcome challenges in their personal life. It doesn't have to be technology.
Okay.
And from that, you can say this person has grit, and no matter what you throw at them, they can overcome that challenge.
Fascinating. So you're not necessarily looking for someone with challenges that they'll have tomorrow in your company. You're saying to someone, how have you overcome a problem in your past, and what have you done to get through it? And you look for that grit experience within there. Fascinating. Good. Now, does that go with both companies you have? Same kind of skill set?
Yes. Well, obviously on the Revert side is more development, and on the Inverselogic's programming side is more of a development, software development skill. And then on the technology side is more hands-on technology, working with servers, working with customers, being able to explain customers what we're doing.
Right.
Yeah. And that personal skill is also important.
Yes.
Because a lot of times techies, what we call techies, are not very, they have the stigma of not being very personable. So it's important for us, because we're in a customer service business at the end of the day, our guys have to be friendly, be able to explain to the customer what the issue is. And sometimes when we solve an issue for a customer, they want to know how we solved it. So you have to be able to explain how you solved the solution and what the cause of the error was.
It makes sense. And that leads into my next question. Is that what sets your company, Inverselogic, apart from your competitors, or what is the?
I like to think so.
Yeah.
We'd like to say that a lot of managed service providers these days, unfortunately, that's what they are, managed service providers. They set up a client on your PC, and everything is basically reported back to them. And if something goes wrong, then they get involved and make sure that they fix the problem. We are more of a high-touch type of a company, where we're involved with our clients on a day-to-day basis. We'll have our staff go out to our client offices, visit them on a monthly basis.
Wow.
Or every so often. Some clients, we have employees that are there 3-4 times a week, depending on their need and size.
Right.
So we're more of a high-touch client, and I think that relationship with the customer, being able to speak to the customer, being able to have that one-on-one connection with the customer is really important when it comes to technology.
Can you give me some examples of customers you've worked with, how you've overcome some of your customers' problems?
For example, one of the customers, or one of our flagship customers, who's here in the San Gabriel Valley, and I think everybody is familiar with them, is the Rose Bowl Stadium.
Oh, right, the Rose Bowl.
So it was a really proud moment for me. The first day I walked into that stadium and said, "Wow, this thing is this historic, beautiful building complex is now our client," and that was a very proud moment for us.
I bet.
And as
what
we all
did they
know,
need? What was their issue?
As we all know, Rose Bowl is a historic stadium built over almost 100 years ago, I think, where the current stadiums that you see, the Cowboy Stadium in Dallas, or the stadium up in San Francisco, Oracle Stadium, those are brand new stadiums that have built ground up with technology in mind.
Right.
When the Rose Bowl was built, there was no technology.
Right.
And so there is no infrastructure. There was no infrastructure put in place for technology. So when the Rose Bowl built the pavilion, the new pavilion, which is the new box offices, we made sure that we put in the technology necessary to be able to adapt to the changing environment and being able to support all the new venue events and games, soccer games, the Rose Bowl game, all those games that come into that stadium.
So you're involved on game day with the events that are going on down
Correct.
there, and how is your staff involved with that?
So we're involved not just on game day or day of concerts. We're involved, for example, for the Rose Bowl game, we get involved almost as soon as the UCLA season ends, end of November, depending on if they make the playoffs or not that season. We get involved prepping for the Rose Bowl game.
Oh.
So we have almost 100,000. I think last year was about 98,000 people at the Rose Bowl Stadium. And we have to make sure that all of the media, all of the news, all of the photographers, everybody has access to their internet.
Wow.
And is able to.
That's a big responsibility.
Yeah, it's a big responsibility.
Yeah.
And it's fun.
Yeah.
But it's a big responsibility.
Now, how many folks on your staff would be involved in a game day like that on site?
So on site, on a game day like that, we have probably about 6 people.
6 people
on site. A couple of guys are from our infrastructure team, which makes sure the cables, if a cable gets cut somewhere, we can replace that cable.
Right.
And we partner with another client, another company that does that for us. But we have to make sure that everything stays up, everything is, in case something goes down, we have replacement parts, and we can replace a switch, replace an access point or a firewall if need be, and make sure that the game goes without a hitch.
Do you get much sleep the night before those games?
No, it's always, we do a good job of testing everything.
Yeah, good.
The week before and the day before, so the night before is usually we're ready to go.
Yeah.
But in technology, something can happen in any second. So
I can imagine. I know I've been to games at the Coliseum where you're trying to get on your cell phone and your data, and everyone's getting on at the same time at halftime, and no one can get on at all. And that's the kind of thing that you
we don't really manage the cell phone connection. We just want to make sure that the stadium's infrastructure is up and running.
Right.
But yes, when you have 100,000 people getting on a cell site, especially at the Rose Bowl, where you're in a confined area. And there's not a lot of buildings around. You're just basically in a contained area. It's hard to have everybody on a cell phone when 100,000 people want to download or upload a selfie to their carriers.
It's a tough thing.
Yeah.
How about some of your other customers, your smaller size customers, some of the other San Gabriel Valley types of businesses that may be smaller than that. How do you work with them? And give me an example of someone you work with.
So
recently.
we work with a lot of smaller firms, law firms, CPA firms, medical firms. We work with a lot of entertainment firms as well. So depending on the need for every client is obviously data protection is really important when it comes to law and when it comes to especially our accounting firms, because you're dealing now not just with your own data, but you're dealing with your clients' data as well.
Very sensitive.
So we have to make sure that they stay protected and make sure that they have the systems in place that they can safeguard that data and be able to work with them.
That's fantastic. Good. Now, Ara, I know before we've talked a little bit, and you're quite involved with community boards and with the community involvement. You feel very passionate about giving back to your community.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about that aspect?
So I'm involved in a few boards, most of them volunteer. The first board that I joined about 10 years ago, that I've been the chairman of the board for 10 years, is our neighbor here is La Cañada's community center.
Oh, great.
So I grew up playing soccer and playing games on the fields of that community center when I was a kid, growing up, going to La Cañada High School and growing up in that city. So when I was asked to join the community center's board, I was really excited.
That's a nice moment.
Yeah, especially when my former principal called me and said, "Hey, would you join this board?" And
That's
it was
great.
a proud
That's
moment
neat.
for me.
Very proud. Yeah.
So we've been able to, for the last 10 years, we've been able to grow the community center's involvement we do a lot of work with the seniors in La Cañada. We do a lot of work with children. We have a preschool on site. Just to make sure it's another old building that's been there for 60, 70 years. And there's a lot of challenges with maintaining an old building.
I'll bet.
And just to make sure that it's continuously thriving and being able to support services to our community.
Great. And what other areas are you involved in with the community outreach?
I joined a couple of years ago. I joined the Verdugo Workforce Development Board. I was asked to join that board, which is a tri-city board that includes Glendale, Burbank, La Cañada. And the board's goal is to make sure to find jobs for displaced employees.
Wonderful.
So if a business is moving out of the area and is going to close, for example, Sport Chalet a couple of years ago went bankrupt and had to lay off a lot of employees. Nestle out of Glendale moved away. I think last year a lot of employees were staff were displaced. So the goal of the board is to re-educate, retrain employees that are looking for jobs because their companies have moved away or closed down, unfortunately.
Good for you. All right, that leads into another question I have. What do you advise either kids in school or older folks who have been laid off as far as getting a job in your industry? Are there opportunities in there, and what advice would you give to those types of people?
So the tech industry right now is booming,
yes,
for lack of a better term. And there's a lot of opportunities in the tech industry. And with tech is something that you can always educate yourself. Even though you may not have a formal degree in technology, there's a lot of online tools, there's a lot of online learning opportunities that you can learn to do something in tech. So if somebody wants to get involved in tech, right now is a great time.
Right.
Because if you have the grit that we're talking about, then you can learn.
Right.
There's a lot of opportunities in tech.
Right. Because if they have the grit, they have the access to online tools. They can self-educate. They can learn what they need to learn. And guys like you are ready to hire people like that. Excellent.
Exactly.
That's great.
And for kids in high school or in college, I think we all know that where the world is headed, AI, cybersecurity, programming are all really important. So it's really important for if somebody wants to get into the technology field right now. A lot of schools are doing a great job providing coding classes, coding competitions, robotics, security. So those are important. I think a lot of kids today that want to get into technology, there's great opportunities.
I imagine there would be quite a few. Now, does your company take that basic education that that child has or that young adult has and then build on that and give them ways to learn and grow themselves within your company once they're an employee?
So one of the things that we've done for the last 10 years, we have an internship program that we bring in kids or students from local high schools or my alma mater and help them learn during the summer. And if they continue to thrive and they want to learn to work with us and that's something they want to pursue, then after college we definitely give them an opportunity to apply and hopefully work with us.
What a great opportunity for some younger men. That's great. Good to hear. All right, tell me a little bit about your family's background, the environment you grew up in. Tell me, why did you become an entrepreneur and start a business? What was it? What was that grit inside of you that your parents maybe instilled in you, or a grandmother?
So
someone?
my father was an entrepreneur. Ever since I grew up, I was born in Iran, Armenian, born in Iran, and then during the revolution, my parents decided it was time to migrate from Iran.
That was in '79 or so?
No, for us it was early 80s.
80s, okay.
Yeah, but the revolution happened in the 78,
Late
79
70s,
in Iran. Before that, my grandparents fled the Armenian genocide from Armenia and ended up in Iran during the genocide. So that's how we ended up, our family was, I was born in Iran.
Right.
And then we migrated here. When we came here, my father was an entrepreneur. He always had his own business.
What did he do?
He was an engineer. He studied in Germany for engineering, for civil and mechanical engineering.
Right.
So he had a company that did engineering for refrigeration systems.
Here in the San Gabriel Valley?
In Glendale.
Glendale.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
In Glendale. So I always knew that I wanted to be my own boss and work for myself, and I was lucky to be able to do that.
Did you ever work for your dad?
For a very short time.
How'd that go?
Not good.
Not very well.
Not very well.
I know what you mean. I've done the same thing. Not very well.
It was frustrating at times. Very frustrating.
I want to do my own thing, Dad. Thanks very much. That's great. Well, that's good. So you want to do your own, and then you found a great partner that worked with you.
Found a great partner.
Now, how do you and your partner decide what areas to focus on?
I've had a really great relationship with my partner because we do very different things. I am more business focused and he's more technology focused. When we first started the business, I used to go sell anything and anything I could sell. And the great thing about my partner, Jeff, was that at the time I would call him and say, Jeff, I just sold a client that we're going to launch the space shuttle, for example. And he would say, what do you mean? And I'd say, it's
Jeff,
business, right?
Figure it out.
So he would read a reference book this thick overnight. And call me the next morning and say, okay, we can launch the space shuttle.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So when you talk about grit, he had that grit. You can really go
and the
out
ability
and
to read a
it
book
out.
like that overnight.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's probably read the most, from everybody I've known, he's probably read the most books anybody I've ever known.
That's great. And it's been a 20-year partnership
It's
that
been
you
a
guys
21-year partnership.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah.
Where do you see the future of your company going? What do you see it's going to look like in 5 years or 10 years? I mean, technology is moving very quickly.
Yes.
Can you predict out at all, and how far can you go?
Unfortunately, I think you can predict out certain things, knowing that AI, cybersecurity is growing, and knowing that the industry will change, how our clients do business will change. I think that the desktop, as we know it, the computer, the laptop will go away.
Keep reading about that.
5 to 10 years.
You really think that's going to be the case?
I think so. Wow. I think everything will be on the cloud. We will not have servers on site anymore. Everything will be cloud-based.
Cloud-based.
And we can do everything from our iPad or iPhone or mobile device. And that would probably be the next big change.
The next big generation.
I think when 5G comes out and becomes available in the next 3, 4, 5 years, that will be a big game changer.
I understand that's going to be a game changer when 5G happens, and your business is setting up to be in the right place, to catch that wave, right where it's there. Yeah, good for you, good. Tell me a little about the culture of your company. I know in high-tech companies, engineers have a certain well, shall we say, personality or such, but how do you deal with the culture in your company, and how's that look?
I think I've been very fortunate hiring the right guys and the right women, men and women, that work for us. I've always had open door policies, so in our company there's not this hierarchy of reporting that you're going to have, even though we have different department heads, department leads. Everybody has open door to my office. They can walk in and talk about anything. I think a lot of the culture comes from just making decisions as a team, and being able to help our clients as a team to grow themselves. So that's been a great benefit for us.
Now, I've heard of a trend of going toward virtual workplaces or people working from home. How do you feel about that? Does that happen in your organization, or? It
happens to a small extent. For us, because our clients A lot of our guys are hands-on with our clients. For help desk guys, that could potentially work. But for guys that show up to clients, obviously have to work with their network, work with their technology on site. That's challenging.
Sure.
With developers, that works as well. But for me personally, called me old school. I like walking into my developer's room and say, hey, I need this challenge solved. Can you guys do it? And we kind of visualize it right there.
Eyeball to eyeball. You're like, okay, let's talk about it.
Yeah. Or just draw it on the board and be able to say, okay, hey, this is how we're going to solve the problem.
Right. Do you have standing meetings then with your staff?
We do.
Regularly?
So every Monday morning we have a standing meeting at 7 o'clock, 7:30 I think it is now.
Great.
That we talk about what we did, what went well, what didn't go well, and what we need to improve on.
Great, and move things
upcoming
forward.
Problems.
That's great. And tell me, what advice would you give to the audience that we have out here about starting a business in California, in the San Gabriel Valley, in technology? Pick any one of those three or all of those three. What advice would you give someone now listening to this show?
An entrepreneur that wants to start a business?
He would probably have to be an entrepreneur or crazy.
I would say the most important thing is passion.
Passion.
Make sure you have the passion, and make sure that you're focused on what you want to do. Because passion is super important, especially in technology, because you're dealing with people, and you're dealing with people's businesses. People entrust what we do in technology. People trust their entire livelihood on us, right?
Yes.
I always say we're more important than somebody's personal doctor.
Right.
Trust is super important, because we have the key to your entire network, the key to your entire business. And that trust is paramount. And passion is paramount too. You have to be really passionate about it, be well-read, stay stay one step ahead of the game, or 2 steps ahead of the game, because things change minute by minute.
So it sounds like it gets back to that grit that you talked about at the beginning of the program. It's that passion, that grit that you have to be able to get up in the morning and look those challenges in the face and overcome them.
Right.
Because there's going to be challenges tomorrow, and there were yesterday.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, great. Good.
And it's getting more complex on day by day.
Because of technology?
Because technology is getting more complicated. In certain ways, it's getting simpler, but in certain ways, it's getting complicated. AI, robotics, self-driving cars, drone delivery. It's just
the whole thing.
Yeah,
the whole thing. Can you tell me a little bit about, speaking of the passion then, what's the why in your company? Why does your company exist? What's the one essence it could boil down to, or is there one?
I think that if there was one essence, is our passion to help our clients. Our clients having the need for us to be able to guide them in the right direction, especially in a changing technology world. What worked 5 years ago in technology doesn't work today. A lot of things are moving so fast that our clients need help being able to stay ahead of the game themselves. So for us is being able to be that sounding board that says, hey, technology is changing, security is changing, you need certain things in place to guard yourself from phishing attacks, viruses, security breaches, whatever that might be.
Right, all those areas.
All those areas.
Good, great. Are there some other comments that you'd want to make if there are potential customers listening, or if there are potential employees listening to this show, that you'd like to address to that audience, one of those two audiences?
Well, I think for potential clients, we happy and welcome anybody that is looking to look at their technology, just to have an idea of if they're doing things right or wrong.
Great.
Have an assessment done. We do a lot of that with clients. Kind of help them, come in and help them and say, hey, even if they have in-house IT or have a smaller IT group that helps them come in and say, hey.
Free assessment?
You guys,
Don't want to put you on the spot.
We do,
free assessment?
We do
okay,
free
good. I wasn't sure on the answer, but.
Yeah, we do. Depending on what level of assessment we're talking about. But
okay, good.
Be happy to do that.
Great.
And for potential employees, as if you're looking for a great place to work.
Fantastic, Ara. Ara, thanks so much for your time today. It's been wonderful talking to you.
Thank you.
And thank you, San Gabriel Valley, for joining us from the corner office. Thanks very much.